Looks like I'm live. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So if you're here, and you don't know what this is about, don't worry. It's an overview. We're going to be talking about a complete solution for disc and nerve pain. Now, while I'm talking about this, I'm also going to be uh, doing a couple of other things. One is inviting you to take some action because if you're suffering disc and nerve pain, if you are in need of change, what we know is that momentum wins. And so taking action is really your first step. And so I'm going to make it really easy for you to take action today. Um, while I'm doing this, I'm going to be delivering a lot of information. So if you do suffer disc and nerve pain, or somebody you care about suffers disc and nerve pain, get something to take notes on. All right, you might want to be taking some notes today. So while you're doing that, while you're grabbing a notebook, I'm going to throw something else out here. So if you're here, if you're watching, if you're on the live, I mentioned on one of the posts that if you show up to the live, I'm going to give you something special, a free gift from me. So if you're here on the live, make sure to comment with the word here. Just let me know you're here. It works best if you tag me. If you tag me on any kind of reply, it works best. Sometimes Facebook will notify me, sometimes it won't. And I want to make sure that I get your free gift to you. So if you're watching on the live, go ahead and comment here. Now, what I said I was going to talk about is it's actually several things. I did a poll. So I run a community here on Facebook called Disc and Nerve Recovery Fundamentals. I'll put a link in the post. So if you want to join that, it's a free group, tons of free resources, and I check in with people. I try to make sure that my members are getting where they need to go, whether they hire me as a coach or not. I do work with people in a fee-based way, and hold them one step at a time, moving forward to help them eliminate pain and get back to doing the things they love. But in that poll, we found some things out. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so you guys can see what we discovered. All right. Okay, what we discovered in this poll that I ran late last month was that I asked, what is it you need? What is it you need right now? And so you can see the results were pretty spread out. There was no landslide winner here. Most people said that they were really looking for a way to eliminate pain for good. Okay, how do I eliminate pain for good? A good number of people said either just pain relief, I just need a break from this pain, or they needed some way to increase strength. I'm assuming to be able to do some things that they're not able to do anymore. Increased mobility was really close, just behind those. So being able to get around, move, freedom of motion is a big deal. If you've suffered a disc and nerve issue, if you're suffering a disc or nerve issue, this can be a really big deal. And I want to go ahead and invite you. So now, whether you're listening the live or you're catching the replay down the road, if you're catching the recording down the road, go ahead and reply to this. Let me know what your goal is, right? Is it pain related? Is it strength related, mobility related? Or the last one, get back to things I used to do and love. So a lot of times when people are suffering disc and nerve issues, it feels like a bit of a prison. And I can relate. So in my background, in my history, I've had a number of disc issues and nerve issues, and I've had cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. I've had sciatica down one leg, down the other leg, down both legs. I've had radiculopathy down one arm or the other. So I can really relate to the experience of what these folks in this last one here were saying. Get back to things I used to do and love, because it gets really old to sit there in pain, or even after the pain is gone, to sit there in fear, to not know if your body is durable enough to move forward. So let's get this thing moving. And as I'm going, I want to speak to these things. So I'm gonna start in a little different order than what was on there. I'm gonna start with pain relief. And so pain relief, what folks are looking for is just make it like less, or make it go away even just for a little while. Give me just a little break. And so what we're really looking for when we're at that stage, when we're suffering and we just need a break, is some type of quick relief strategy. I like to call the way I approach this the unload. Okay, the unload. One of my clients, Marianne, years ago, nicknamed this her off button. She was so thrilled when she first got her unload because she could hit an off button. And what she meant by that was when she was feeling pain and it was creeping up, and normally she would go into panic and maybe have to take meds or something like that, she could just go perform a very simple, very safe skill, and she could watch that pain just slowly go away or even quickly go away sometimes. And uh, to her, it was beautiful to have this off button. And so, what is an off button? What's the unload, right? It's something it's a skill, it's on demand. Like it's something that people learn, you do it. It helps you to reliably unload or reduce pain. And just real quick, how it works. Your brain is perceiving everything going on, and people say pain is in the brain, and yeah, your brain is what's perceiving and what's relaying that information to you, and it tells you there's pain when it perceives a threat. Okay, and so if there's an actual physical threat, it's going to be hard to think your way out of that one. Maybe you can think past it for a little while, but at some point you got to do something to it. And so what we want to do is we want to learn a skill that helps to remove that threat, reduce that threat. And that frees your body up. It frees it from tension. It frees it from the pain. It frees up your recovery resources. It's easier to recover when you're not always in pain. It frees up your movement quality. So it literally frees you to be able to engage more in things you want to do. And what I found is learning an unload strategy, learning a skill that you can use on demand that's reliable to turn the pain off, is empowering. And empowerment, when you've been in a place of suffering, can be a really big deal. And so if you're one of these folks who's in this spot where it's like, man, I just need a break right now, why don't you go ahead and comment relief? Make sure and tag me. Again, it doesn't matter if you're listening now or in the future, especially if you tag me. Okay. Sometimes if a post has been up a little while and you comment, then Facebook doesn't let me know. So comment with the word relief and then tag me. And I'll talk you through. We'll see like what kind of unload, what specific unload is what you need right now so that you can get that relief. All right. Now I'm moving forward through to eliminating pain. All right. So eliminating pain. And let's be real, it's never going to happen. Okay. And I don't mean to be a downer here, but pain is part of life. We all have pain. And the one you're dealing with now needs fixing, right? So we need to know that we're going to be able to get past this one. Okay. And so to eliminate pain, we need that unload. So we need that first level skill. And this is where I find a lot of people are missing. When I'm talking to people about what are you doing, it's kind of like a lot of therapies start, they put the cart before the horse, so to speak. They're trying to do exercises and stretches and these other things, and they haven't removed the threat. They haven't helped the person understand a simple skill they can use for themselves to unload that threat. And so that unload I find to be essential. Even if you're not in pain now, we still need to discover what that unload is for you. And then the next step in my experience is what I like to call a rebuild. And a rebuild, this is kind of nerdy talk here, but I'll try and make it simple. It's the integrated skill of mobility, stability, and strength all together. So movement requires mobility. Movement requires us to stabilize joint structures, or the brain's going to perceive a threat. If we're stiff and we're not mobile, the brain perceives a threat, tightens you down, may trigger pain signals. If you're unstable, if the vertebra of your neck or of your low back are unstable, your brain will initiate tension. It'll initiate a protective response, and it may indicate pain. And then likewise, if we're just weak, if we can turn those muscles on, but they're not strong enough to do their job at the right time, One of the things I noted in a earlier post, we recently went to an amusement park, and we were riding all these roller coasters, and roller coasters are meant to re-injure people who've had cervical disc injuries. That's that's a not really, but I couldn't help but sit there and think like how thankful I was that I've learned how to integrate mobility, stability, and strength of my neck because my head's being, I got a big head. My head's being whipped around all over the place. And I've had a number of cervical injuries. I've had disc injuries. I actually have a disc right now that's considered, um, very much reduced in size, and the space for the nerves as they come out is called severely reduced. That's what I've been told on imaging. But because I had this integrated skill of mobility, stability, and strength, and because I went through the unload process to free myself up to be able to learn those skills, I was fine. I had a great time. So if eliminating pain, if figuring out what your unload, figuring out what your rebuild might need to look like is you, go ahead and comment pain-free, and again, tag me. All right. So if you're looking to eliminate pain, pain-free, and then tag me. All right, we're going to move forward. So the next area is increased strength, right? So all of these were things that people in the disc and nerve recovery fundamentals community, all of these were things that people said they wanted. And so I'm really, and I think I find that community to be very representative of other communities that I've been involved in. So I hear these same things in other communities. And so I know that increasing strength is definitely one of those higher level goals for people who've suffered disc or nerve injury. And so the first thing I like to note here is that strength is a skill. We tend to think lift weight, get stronger. But the reality is that strength as used in life is based on timing too. It's based on timing and it's based on integration. And what I mean by that is one muscle doesn't just work by itself. If you have one muscle working by itself and it has great timing and it can handle a huge amount of force, great. But if the other muscles that help that muscle out don't have the same timing, don't have the same level of strength, you still got big problems. And so when I talk to people about building this strength, it still goes back to the rebuild, right? We have to rebuild that integrated skill that involves the mobility, stability, and strength. Otherwise, your brain is going to continue to perceive a threat. And one of the things your brain does when it perceives a threat, it reduces your potential for strength. It takes the master switch. If we turn that master switch all the way up to 10, you would have access to 100% of the strength of your muscles in your body. Okay. Nobody has that. Maybe that we've had glimpses of that in somewhere in history, but it's just not something that humans tend to be able to call up. Now, your brain then puts a regulator on that. And so most people, 50, 60% might be the most they can pull up. Well, if you have a threat in the system, if you have a nerve that's under compression or tension, or it has a problem, it doesn't slide well, or you have a disc that has an issue and the muscles aren't protecting it, then your brain's going to pick up on this threat and it's going to turn that 60% down to maybe 30%, 20%. Your brain is going to regulate you and not let you have strength. So we need that rebuild. And I should have put the unload. We need that unload and that rebuild as the base for you to be able to develop strength realistically. And then because you've suffered this trauma, of a disc and nerve issue, the next thing you're going to need to do is reset the whole system. You need to integrate the whole body. You need to get those muscle systems working together again. And that's through the use of movement patterns. So if anybody knows anything about movement pattern training, you're on the right track. And then once we reset those systems, then we get to recondition if somebody wants to go to a higher place. Right now, I'll say most people that I work with are happy with an unload and a rebuild. A good number of people, okay, not the majority, but knocking on the door of the majority want to reset the whole system because they want to feel that confidence. They want to feel that capability that comes from resetting the whole system and integrating their whole body again. Now, there are those folks that want to do what I call recondition. And so now we have everything integrated. Now we need to push it up to the next level to get PRs, personal records. Okay. When I talk about personal records, what I'm talking about, this is what's really cool about this method. What's really cool to me about this method is how quickly we can get people back to doing things they love to do at the level they love to do them, even if it's something they've never done before. Okay, and so I'll just share a few of them here. So Margie came in with an injury. Her training season was cut in half or less, and yet we still managed to get her a 30-minute PR on her return to Ironman competition. That's if you don't know, that's a big deal. I'm pretty happy about that. 20-pound snatch PR. Okay, so my client Nick was having trouble with the shoulder. We did, and turns out low back too. We went through the unload, the rebuild, started working into the reset, and didn't even get deep into the reset. And this is just a few weeks into the recovery, comes back and says, dude, I'm lifting heavier than I ever have before. I don't know what we did, but it worked. Okay. Yeah, I remember Jay, we went to work on reset work. Again, we didn't even get deep into reconditioning work yet, but um, he was a MMA fighter, and first round, for anybody that knows anything about this, he was on the bottom and he was getting beat on. And when that's happening, you got to move, you got to move, you got to move. It's absolutely exhausting. It's brutal. It's a tough place to be. It's stressful, which tends to exhaust you even faster. And yet, when he came back to the corner at the end of that round, he took one deep breath. He said, okay, he was ready to go. One more here. Another client was set for surgery, was told that he was going to need 10 anchors to secure the labrum in his shoulder. And not long after getting started working together, several weeks into the process, sends me a video of him doing ring muscle ups. If you don't know what that is, you can YouTube it. Ring muscle ups are very dynamic, demand a lot in the range of motion of the shoulder and strength of the shoulder. And he sends me this video of him getting ring muscle up PR, personal record, more reps than he had gotten before, and cleaner. So hey, if a PR is in your desire, your window, and you want to hit a PR, I don't care if you're hurt right now. If you want to get a PR, just type the letters PR and make sure to tag me. So I hope this is helpful. If you're suffering, I hope that this is helpful in two ways. One, I hope it gives you brain food. If you're wanting to do stuff on your own, like I'm 100% here to help people do that. And if you really want, if you want to accelerate that process, make sure to hop into the Disc and Nerve Recovery Fundamentals community. Again, I'll put a link on this post so you can access that because I have a ton of resources there. And what I do there is when people reach out to me, we have a conversation. And if they're in need of support, again, I can offer direction to free resources. There's a ton in the community. And then also, of course, I coach people for a fee. I coach people to get past these things. So if that's what you're looking for, just hop in the group. All right, so increased mobility. Again, all of these things were pretty close in terms of what people were looking for, what people wanted. So increased mobility. And so what do we mean by mobility? Okay, so some people think like range of motion. If I can take my arm and like put it behind my head, I got really good range of motion. But if I can't take my arm, move it there, or even resist it being put there once it gets there, that range of motion doesn't serve me very well. I even say here, range of motion alone is worthless. Range of motion with skill is mobility. And so what I mean by that is what I just said. Can I put it there on my own? And if it's being shoved there, can I accept it and then move and get myself out of there? Okay, to protect myself. So true mobility is movement or strength in action. Okay. true mobility means that the muscles can not only extend and allow you to get to a certain position, but they can control that position. They can support you in that position, and they can protect you in that position. And so when I think of my day-to-day people, um, women, shoulder issues, bra strap. Okay. Uh, any client of mine, bending, stooping, squatting, lifting, reaching, these are all things, these are all mobility requirements. And if you have a disc or nerve injury, quite often they're very limited. And so back up the bus, you're probably not going to get here unless you have an unload and a rebuild. Um, but then that's the result, is released mobility. And let's talk about real quick that threat concept. So if your brain is picking up on a threat, it's going to restrict your mobility. It's going to try and protect you by tightening your muscles, by reducing your range of motion. So not only is your brain going to cut back on your ability to tap into your strength, but your brain's going to cut back on your ability to tap into your range of motion, your mobility. And that's going to stop you from getting back to the things you used to do and love. And that's ultimately what we want, is this freedom. We want this independence. When it gets into the nuts and bolts, when I'm having these conversations with folks that are suffering, in the end, it's almost always the same. I want my independence. I want my freedom back. I want to be able to choose what I do and enjoy it. I want to not have this little scary beast lurking over my shoulder, wondering when's it going to hit me again, or how bad's it going to be this time. I don't want to have to deal with those fears. I want to feel confident again. And so that's what I mean by getting back to the things you used to do and love. And it's no joke. You must be willing to work to the level you wish to achieve. Okay. It does take work, it does take commitment. But my goal, by helping people understand these principles, these truths of recovery, is to make that easier. And when I work with my clients, my whole theme is simpler, faster, easier. How can I make things simpler? How can I make things faster? How can I make things easier so that you can get to where you want to go? And hey, there's work involved. And what is that work? Unload, rebuild, reset, recondition, right? That's the process. Put those things together and you have a complete recovery. All right. Now, I typed 4 phases of complete recovery. That's not true. Well, no, I'm sorry, that is true. Okay, so the 4 phases of a complete recovery. So there's the acute phase, the pain is pressing. There's the critical phase, you're vulnerable. There's the functional phase, you're not so vulnerable. There's specialized, you can do what you want. Now, if you have a target, well, something that I find very valuable for people is to do 2 things. One is to identify what phase you're in. The other is to identify what phase you want to achieve. Okay, if you got those 2 things, you're already way ahead of the game. And those 2 things together can help really describe the path that you're going to need to take to get there. Okay, I also have a different mindset process, working with people, and it very much has to do with how we frame things, right? How we frame things matters. If we frame things bottom up, if we say, okay, you have this injury and this injury requires this protocol so that you won't hurt, and that's the way I approach it, then you're kind of left hanging. You got to go figure it out on your own. But if I approach it, hey, what's the 3-dimensional view? What is your full experience right now? And what is the full experience you want to be living? What does that look like? 3-dimensional view of that. Now we have a really clear path. And what are the obstacles that could pop up? Well, my truth in doing this work is that obstacles that we run into are actually our biggest opportunities. And what I mean by that is those obstacles let us know what you really need to be truly pain-free. So I embrace any kind of speed bumps that come along on the path, because it's going to make things a lot more clear for us. So again, shifting the paradigm, creating a mindset that's geared towards recovery without being pie in the sky, with being very real about the circumstance, is truly, in my mind's eye, the best way to get where we want to go. So if you want to actually, if the four phases can be a little confusing right out of the gates, but I can make it really simple. I actually have a video that does that. If that interests you, if you want to get clear about where you're at and where you want to land, just type goals and tag me, of course. So I'll make sure to see it, and I'll reach out and I'll get you hooked up with that. All right. Hey, look at this. Thank you. Right. So that's me saying thank you for checking this out. If you found this helpful, please comment helpful. Let me know. Let me know if this is helpful. If you want more, comment more, and I'll connect with you and figure out what it is you're looking for. And if there's something else, like if I didn't cover something and there's something that you want to learn about in terms of recovery, if there's something personal for you that um, you're having a challenge with right now, um, feel free to either drop it in the comments, or if you feel like it's personal, just message me directly. I'm always on Messenger. It's how I communicate with clients and make sure they're steady ahead, even on the days in between when I'm actually serving them during a session. So that's a quick way to get hold of me. Let's see, one more thing. Again, if you're here for the live, make sure and comment here. Okay, I have a fantastic gift for you, and I want to make sure you get it. Otherwise, thanks so much. I'll see you again.